Hey guys, it's late and it's almost 10 o'clock Eastern time, but I wanted to share something with you. I actually went to the HR convention last week, and I was there on all day Monday and sat in on all the recruiting classes and seminars. And the reason I went, for a couple of reasons. One is obviously to network, but two, is to really get a better idea of what's going on with the disparage between candidates that are interviewing and can't find opportunities or can't get in front of the hiring managers, and understanding what is going on. What I found was interesting is, and I sat in probably about 4 of the recruiting specifically for HR, internal recruiting talent acquisition groups. And what I found interesting is every single one of them said how hard it was to find candidates. And I thought, surely at one of these groups, somebody is going to bring up the fact that there's ghosting going on, right? From the companies, not recruiters, as of course we've all been kind of slung through the mud over the years, recruiters have, that are external outside of companies. But again, why are companies ghosting? I just spoke to another candidate yesterday, or not, excuse me, not yesterday, last week, who was told that she was going to get 2 offers. This is an in-person interview from a local company, very prominent local company here in the Tampa Bay area, that she should be expecting 2 offers coming her way. Do you know that in 8 days she never heard back from them? And finally on the 8th day they said that they've gone in another direction. That has probably brought me to about 20 people that I've spoken to in the Tampa Bay area, also across the country, that have been told that an offer is coming and it doesn't happen. So I thought for sure one of these groups that I'm sitting in on is going to talk about this, right? They're going to talk about why this is happening, but it wasn't. The whole time they spoke about how hard it was to find candidates. So I'm like, why are candidates having such a hard time getting in front of hiring managers, but yet every single person in these groups, and these are big groups, these are not just 20 people, these are 80 people within a group, and I sat in with about 4 of them, all saying the same thing. There is a major delta we have, and this is not just Florida, but I'm only specifically talking about Florida, of people that are saying, hey, I can't get in front of the hiring manager, what's going on? They say they have a position, and then no one calls me, or I have an interview, or I'm getting ghosted, and then internal recruiting, talent acquisition, and hiring managers are saying we're dying on the vine for people. What is the disconnect? So I wish I had a great answer for you on this. I'm still looking into it myself. It's very bizarre. I can tell you in 25 years, I've never seen anything like the disparity that we have right now. But there definitely is something going on. Here's what I think to be true. Inside companies where they have HR, internal recruiting, talent acquisition, they are still posting and praying. From everything I sat in on these groups, they're not doing anything as far as different than they probably did pre-COVID or even 5 years ago. That's what I'm understanding. And so, but their software has got maybe more sophisticated. So you're putting a resume in, somebody is looking at it, or it's just going through the system, and then you're getting the Dear John, sorry but not sorry letter saying we've gone a different way. So I don't really know what's going on, to be truthful. I'm really trying to figure this out myself because, again, never experienced anything like this in my 25 years. What I think has got to happen is that internal recruiting has to bring in individuals that are true recruiters, that can put a recruiting hat on and go find people, but also the people that are applying be able to have real live conversations with them. So when I talked to a woman who was in HR and also an attorney, she also did confirm something that I thought was kind of happening as well. Because we are in a culture war in our country, I think it has very much spilled over into the corporate world. What do I mean by that? I mean that back in the day, if somebody wasn't the right fit, maybe they were overqualified or something, we would actually get on the phone and have a real live conversation with them. So for instance, if I applied for a position, I'm 51 years old, right? And so if someone says to me, hey, Kelly, thank you so much for applying, but you know what? We really wanted somebody a little bit more early in their career or mid-career and not somebody that maybe was like really tenured. Now, somebody today will absolutely sue a company for doing that, for sure, right? Because that's ageism. And I understand ageism is not good, and I think it's prevalent, and I don't agree with it either. However, I think companies have gotten so concerned with ageism, race, everything you can imagine. They're so afraid to have real live conversations that they don't have any conversations at all. Because think about this for a minute. Real world here. Let's really think about this. If you are, let's say, out of college, you don't have a lot of real world experience, you're recruiting, you're calling somebody who didn't get a position. There are things that you could probably say that could put you in a very, or your company, in a very compromising situation where, with our country as litigious as it is, could sue you. So are you as a company going to put somebody in that position to have a real live conversation and put yourself in a vulnerable place where you could be sued? You probably are not going to do that. And that's what I think a lot of companies are doing. And she definitely clarified that off the record. So I think that we've got a lot of things going on. I think we got systems that are quote unquote sophisticated, right? You go in the black hole, they never even see you because, especially let's say if it's a marketing position, 500 people apply to that position. There's no way you could be the best talent acquisition person in the world. You're never going to get through those 500 people. That's the first thing. Second thing is, as a company, we're too afraid to have real live conversations on the phone to tell you why you didn't get a position because we're too afraid that we're going to get sued. Who do we blame in that situation? Us, our country. We put ourselves here, guys. You know what? We did. It's not the company's fault. We are in a situation where every little misstep, people are willing to sue an organization or an individual. And unfortunately, we have put ourselves in this situation. Whether we like it or not, we are in this scenario because of that. And I think that the other thing is they don't have sophisticated enough people sometimes in some of these positions. They are taking somebody who is human resources, and God love them, they're so good at what they do. I could not do what they do. But they're putting them in a quote unquote sales role because recruiting is sales. I don't care what anybody says. If you have to actually reach out to somebody, call them when they're not currently looking for a position and talk about an opportunity you have and recruit them, that's a sales role. And human resources are not willing to do that a lot of times. You talk to anybody in HR, they're like, yeah, I'm interested, but I don't want to do recruiting. And just having people apply and going through those individuals and finding the best candidates of the people applied, that's not recruiting. That isn't. That's shifting through applicants and finding the best of who applied. That's, again, not recruiting. So in my synopsis of what I've learned from my time at the HR convention was what I suspected, that companies are afraid of saying the wrong thing, getting the wrong person on the phone, and have a litigious situation. The systems have gotten so to a point where there's no human connection and they get such a large number of applicants, especially in Florida, because everybody's applying and wants to move here. We're getting bombarded with people all over the country versus like if you're in Minnesota, my home state, people aren't clamoring to go to Minnesota. So they don't have the same situation Florida does, right? You got that going on. So you've got multiple, and then you have people that are in the roles that really probably don't even want to be there or not really even, honestly, the right fit for those types of roles. So I think internal recruiting needs people like real recruiters to go out and find real top talent for companies, but they also have to be willing to have real live conversations. We need to get away from software, right? Grab the people through the software system, great, but at the end of the day, they gotta pick up the phone and have conversation. But everybody wants to be on email. Nobody wants to talk anymore. So if you don't want to talk live to anybody, how can you possibly really know what type of candidates you have applying? And so they need to probably upgrade those positions. They need to pay better. They need higher caliber people. And this is, again, what I'm seeing time and time and time. Almost every single hiring manager that I talk to, when I ask them if I can help them with a search, or it's a client reaching out to me and asking me to help them with their search, it's because they didn't get the adequate candidates through their internal recruiting and talent acquisition. Again, I'm not beating up HR or internal recruiting or talent acquisition. I think companies underpay them greatly, but yet they want a superstar in that role, but they want to pay them way too low. And there's a reason why someone like myself who's working for a firm and agency may not want to work internally, because we make way too much money outside an outside firm than working internally. So there is a real disconnect we're having, and this is what my honest opinion is what's happening internally. I know this is a long video, but if I don't have this conversation once, I probably have it 10 times a day, guys, of the people that are going through this and are really, really struggling. And so for the people that are really, really struggling, this video is really gonna, hopefully at least you'll understand what's going on. For somebody who's not looking for a position, this is too long of a video and you're probably bored already. But for people that are looking or will be looking, or people that are a C-suite or upper management at companies, and you know that your internal recruiting team, your talent acquisition team, or HR team is struggling and broken and you don't know how to fix it, call me. I can help you. I've consulted with companies like yours, and I have figured out what is broken. Do you have the right people on your team? Do you need to elevate your team? And how to become an employer of choice, where people want to work for your employer, where you don't constantly have to reach out. That people are actually coming to your organization. Again, sorry for the long video, but hopefully for some of you who are looking and frustrated, and I know there's a lot of you out there, I am sorry you're experiencing this. Again, not seen anything like this before. I do think there is some point that it is going to get better, and I hope it's soon. Last thing before I leave, I just want to give a little props out to Boho Blush Boutique, Jackie Alvarez Peterson. It's my first time purchasing anything from her. This cute little sweater number is from her shop. She's online, Jackie Alvarez Peterson, and she's with Boho Blush Boutique. Jennifer Hall got me turned on by her. This cute little tank and sweater and bracelet number is from her. So Jackie, kudos. Thank you so much. Have a great night.